Awesome.
Alrighty, looks like we are live.
We are live. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Thirsty Topic.
And tell me, how are you doing today?
I'm doing it. I mean, well, it's wet, dude. I thought today was Thursday about 7 different times today, and I was very disappointed. So I had that going for me. But how about yourself?
Extremely busy.
Yeah.
Busy during my day job doing a lot of stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I can't complain. I
So,
mean, I can't complain, but nobody really cares. But
right, right. Yeah. Oh, it feels so bad you're making money. Because it's in sales when you're busy, it's a good thing.
that is true. That is so true. We've had our slow days too.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Topics, thirsty topics for this week. Anything that hit your radar that you wanted to discuss?
Ooh, actually, I have a few things, but I think the one I want to talk about first, um, Young Thug is on trial right now. I'm not sure if you know who he is.
I know roughly who he is. Like, I don't really know his like music or anything.
Yeah, he's a rap artist.
Hmm.
Actually, I believe I want to say a Grammy award-winning rap.
I'm sure. Like, I know he's big. Yeah.
But he's going through a trial right now,
Hmm.
and he's being charged with the RICO Act. Now, the thing that makes this thing interesting is that I guess the prosecution is planning on using some of his lyrics um, for their case against him. And I guess my question is, are we going down a dangerous slope when we start looking at um, a musician's lyrics in their song? What do you think?
I do. Well, so I was like, I don't know what the Rico Act is. I'm thinking like Rico Suave. What? Yeah, I want the Rico Act. So I Googled uh, Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act.
Yes.
Um, so I don't really know what that means. So is it just unlawful activities and organized crime?
Well, they're basically saying that he is, running a very dangerous criminal street organization. Normally, you don't really hear RICO unless they're talking about the mafia or something like that.
Gotcha.
To
Yeah,
use outside of that is very rare.
yeah.
I guess supposedly they have a lot of evidence, but I guess the question is, well, if you have all this evidence, why are you even going down this road
Why are
with
you
the
going after
lyrics?
songs? No, I think that is, I mean, I guess I get the logic to a degree to someone who maybe isn't like, you know, in the entertainment industry to know like it's all a show. It's all an act. I mean, there might be kernels of truth in there and there might be a lot of truth, but like there's so much storytelling that it's just so hard to say like, oh yeah, I wasn't with all these women. I was with this one woman and it wasn't all those times. It was that one time. You know what I mean? Like it was just um I mean, and also I think it's so dangerous because like it even though it's like rap and some people aren't don't consider rap like an art form, it 100% is. And like that needs to be protected as far as like being free to say what you want to say. And so if that's eventually going to lead to you getting incriminating yourself because you decided to paint a picture of what your life looks like that may or may not be true, that's going to stifle people's creativity. And I'm not here for that. So I think it's super dangerous, super slippery slope. And I think if they had all this evidence, why would they be going to his music? They can't have shit. They don't got shit on him. What I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I mean, I guess the way I look at it is, you have to separate the art from the person. And the reason why I say that is I could point out a whole bunch of songs that have crazy stuff said in them that they obviously didn't do, they don't plan on doing. Like for example, if you hear, you know, I'm bumping my music real loud, or I know you heard of this song, F the, fuck the police. Remember that years ago?
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
So obviously, they do want the police to protect them, but it's lyrics.
It's
You know what I
lyrics.
mean? It's literally lyrics.
Well, and again, it's an outlet. Like I think about like Eminem and like, he had this whole song about killing his baby's mom. Like
Hmm.
obviously she didn't die. She's still alive. That
Hmm.
wasn't true. That was an outlet for his creativity. Like if she turned up dead, yeah, maybe he'd be one to question. Maybe you want to question him. But in general, it's usually the men in your life that need to get questioned, anyways, if you are a woman that turns up dead. You know, so yeah, it's an outlet. It's an outlet for your feelings. You can say all this stuff about, murder or drugs and yada yada because maybe you don't live that in your everyday life, or you're just painting a picture of a character that you play. None of it's real. It's not real, which is insane that they would even go after lyrics.
I
Huh.
mean, and in the opposite, you hear people talk about how much money they have and stuff like that, and they ain't really got no money. Again, it's an art form. That's literally all it's an art form.
Oh
Or when
yeah.
when you hear a guy talk about he's the biggest player, probably ain't no player at all. It's lyrics.
I mean, you can't be, I mean, yes, can you be a player and in the studio 18 hours a day? Yeah. But I mean, like that's the thing. Like evidence suggests you are a businessman and a writer and an artist.
Correct.
There's not a lot of pictures from People magazine with you out at the club. So
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on this story because I'm kind of interested to see how this goes.
mm-hmm. I just can't imagine that they'd find anything but,
Mm,
hearsay. I'm no lawyer, but I would stand up in court and yell hearsay.
there you go.
Um, okay, so there are a few things that happened in the news this week, and sometimes I get serious and sometimes I get funny. I'm gonna go with like a this is not it's not supposed to be funny. This is not supposed to be funny, but all right. Um, you remember Derek Chauvin?
Yes, I didn't say anything.
Do you know what happened to him this week?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he got shanked. He got shanked in prison.
I mean, it's not funny. I'm not
No, I
laughing at
know,
that.
I
But here's the thing. It's bad when anyone gets assaulted in prison or jail. But I think the irony of this is that because of what happened, how he got arrested, how he was prosecuted, put in jail, that elitist attitude, my opinion, thinking,
know.
hey, I'm above the law, because I still say that when he was found guilty, it was during COVID, so obviously he had a mask on, but I can still see his expression like he was shocked. He did
Yeah.
not think he was going to be found guilty. And I think the thing is that it let a lot of officers know, and there's a lot of good officers that are trying to do the right thing, but for these rogue officers, I think it's an image or a warning sign like, hey, guess what? We're watching you. And yes, you can't be prosecuted.
Yeah. I mean, again, how arrogant or above the law do you think you are that you think you can kill somebody on the street in broad daylight and get recorded and be fine? Or even assault somebody on the street in the daylight and get recorded and be fine. Like it was such a big, arrogant, I mean, obviously cruel criminal thing to do, murdering somebody like that. But I mean, just even if it was just assault, even if he hadn't murdered him, I mean, it still was just a bold thing to think that you could do without repercussions. And I just feel like um I don't want to say like the roles are reversed, but I mean his power is flipped. That
Mm-hmm.
like he was in power at one point, but now, and I'm not talking about like white versus black in jail. I'm talking about like ex cop in
Yep.
jail. And that's the thing, like where it's his like they're just inherently not on his side.
Oh yeah. And the thing is that yeah, when you first send an officer to jail, again, I don't work in the criminal justice system, so I don't know, but I'm
Nothing.
assuming they're probably going to put him in protective custody.
Mm-hmm.
but he's not going to be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point when you come out, you're either going to have to humble yourself down, or if you still have this little chip on your shoulder, there are going to be people there that's going to be able to knock that chip off your shoulder.
I mean, and honestly, I just don't think he could humble himself enough. Like,
Mm.
I just don't think he could humble himself. Like, if he were to meet me, would I kill him? No. But like, would I, you know, appreciate him as a human being? No. Mm-mm. So, I mean, it's like you can't humble yourself enough to even get somebody to forgive what you've done, murdering somebody. Like,
That's
again,
true.
accidents happen, and like that's, I think, one thing. But like this wasn't an accident, and it was just so cruel that it. I mean, I think I don't want to be like he got what he deserved, because I don't necessarily believe in that either. But it just makes sense that it happened, I guess is
I
the best
mean,
way to put it.
the way I look at it, Kristen, is if you're going to make a big deal about him getting shanked or stabbed in prison, you better make a big deal out of anyone who has happened to, because there's many people that it happens to, and you hear nothing.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
So if you're gonna make a big deal about this, make a big deal about anyone who's assaulted in jail.
Yes.
You can't have one set of rules for one prisoner and a different set of rules for everyone else. You can't have that.
Yeah, and I mean it might just be this sickness in people that are very, like, again, I'm probably pretty sick too, but this that they're like, well, people are going to want to know that this happened to this guy. So I mean, I'm sure they made a big deal about it because they know his notoriety, and they know some people are going to be happy to hear it, and some people, again, like, if it was a different scenario or I mean, there's so many other instances where I would be like, this is wrong, but in his instance, I'm like, I hope he doesn't die.
Yeah.
But that's all I really have for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So
Yeah,
anyway,
very interesting.
very interesting. Yeah, and right now, what I've read is that he's in like, I don't even think they said stable. His decent and improving condition. So they
Mm-hmm.
were really actually pretty ambiguous about like how he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I do not want him to die, but I mean, the puzzle pieces kind of come together a little bit. It kind of makes sense.
True. Very, very true. Well, did you hear this story about you know who T.I. is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. His son King.
Okay.
He basically wants to be a mogul like his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And him and T.I. got into a physical altercation at a football game.
Okay.
I guess, the word is that, King wants to be tough. He wants to be street. He's not really a street person. He grew up in the burbs. But the thing is, I guess he was saying some crazy stuff about his parents, and they didn't appreciate that, and then the way he was talking to them. And I guess my question would be, do you think that a lot of this stuff should be dealt with behind closed doors? I've never been a fan of, families airing their dirty laundry out in public,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're a celebrity. I mean, what do you think?
No, I totally agree with that. How old is King, by the way?
King is young. I want to say, if I had to guess, I want to say he's maybe like 14 to 16, maybe, if I
Okay.
had to guess.
Oh, see, he's a child. He is an absolute child. My 14 or 16-year-old has something to say to me in public. It depends on how big he is. Let's go there. Because I am that mom that will grab you by the ear. We are going home. Like, I will humble you 100%. But yeah, if he's a big dude, or he's been drinking, or he's on drugs, like, I don't know how he's gonna react. Then, like, I would just leave and remove myself from the situation, and then just later on we deal with it. So I definitely would not make it public. but I would definitely make the trying to drag him home public if he was, you know, small enough, if he was still like young.
I mean, I guess looking at it, you know, most men, if their son sticks their chest out at them,
Mm,
yeah, we're gonna get a little physical because you're challenging us. Now you're going from father and son to man.
man, yeah.
And sometimes kids need to understand, especially young boys, is if you play like you're an adult to your dad's going to treat you like an adult, and you might not like what you might think what you're gonna get is gonna be. I can say what I want, I can do it, I want to my dad. No, that's not
Yeah,
gonna
man,
happen.
my daddy loves me and he's gonna, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think that's, similar to with, I mean, in a different way with girls and their moms. Like if I were to like call my mom like stupid bitch, slap the shit out of me. Like
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, but I could probably say some shit to my dad and he'd be like, get out of here. Like, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't like be okay with it, but he would be like, you're mad, get out of here. So I mean there's just a different, I mean I think it is a definitely a gender difference, so I don't understand the whole father son dynamic, but I mean regardless I just don't think any sort of physical fight, family or otherwise, in public is the thing to do. Was it a professional football game?
Yeah, they were at an NFL game.
So it wasn't like at a high school. Like they weren't.
But the thing is that, and that's why it makes it a little bit different, is when you're a celebrity and in the age of smartphones, everyone has a camera.
Mm,
So the
mm-hmm.
minute something happens, someone's gonna catch it quick.
Yeah, there's
You
no
know,
hiding.
and the thing is that, yeah, Ti is a celebrity. Everyone knows him, but he's human too.
Oh
And and you don't expect your son to say certain things about you or act a certain way towards you.
Oh, absolutely
You
not.
know,
Especially when you've given them literally everything. Like,
you know,
there's
and
a
a
reason
lot.
good in street.
Oh,
It's because he's a suburbs kid.
and the real crazy thing, Kristen, I laugh at this, but I tell people all the time. I say, it amazes me when suburban kids want to be tough. My thing is, let me throw you in a trunk, take you where I grew up at, and let you out. Let's see how tough you are. It sounds cool to be street and all this, and then what it's all cracked up to be.
Oh.
And they
No,
don't understand that.
no. I mean, you're not tough because it's cool to be tough. You're tough because you had to be tough, and that's. I mean, I.
And that's a big difference.
Oh, it's a huge difference. It's not like an image, and I feel like most genuinely tough people, and I feel this way about a lot of different sorts of people, but I feel like the toughest people are the softest on you. You know what I mean? And it just the way, like, I feel like the best business people and the most successful people want to see you rise as well. Like, there's just a tenderness of like, I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. Let me teach you. Let me help you. Let me help you start your business, or in, in terms of, being hood versus not hood, whatever. It's like, let me treat you with respect because, the elders in my life didn't treat me with respect. So, I mean, yeah, I pretending to be strong or hood or whatever. I mean, I think most people can see right through that.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, I learned a lot of stuff growing up on my own, not by choice.
For sure.
And I tell young people all the time, one, don't rush to be an adult. Take your time.
Yeah.
And the second thing is listen,
Mm.
because life would teach you way more than any book would ever teach you.
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and experience and going through hunger, going through pain teaches you a lot.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, and no parent wants to see their child make mistakes, especially preventable mistakes.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting because, it's kind of a different topic, but like as a parent, you are always trying to toggle that line between I want to give you everything I didn't have. I want things to be easy for you, easy-ish for
Hmm.
you. But at the same time, I know you won't learn or appreciate it without some hardship. So it's almost like you manufacture the hardship. It's like, I'm not going to pay your rent for you. And then they're like, but at the end of the day, they know
Oh yeah.
mom and dad are going to come through and they're not going to let me get evicted, but it's just, you always have to toggle that line between where to try to teach them lessons and where to be soft with them. And this goes for everybody, I included.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is that as a parent, as your child gets older, you're literally fighting your normal instinct to protect that child.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to let your child fall sometimes. Now you want to try and maybe have it to where they don't bump their head too hard, but they
Yeah.
have to fall so they know how to get back up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't make it so easy for them that, they think, well, I'm not worried about it. Mom and dad's going to bail me out. The problem with that scenario is that you're going to get yourself into some issues that mom and dad can't get you out of.
They just can't. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, I think as long as everybody's got their head screwed on straight, 9 times out of 10, it works out fine for
Oh,
kids.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing, like having them just go learn their lessons, think things through. I mean, it's really the rash, crazy decisions that people are, make when they're out drinking, or, it's usually the oddball things that they're not thinking through clearly, that they're all of a sudden in love and going to move to California with the guy they've known for 3 weeks, like that type of stuff. That's usually the ones that end up kind of falling flat on their face. But most people who have their heads screwed on really are trying. And those, again, the parents are willing to say, okay, I will help you. I know you tried. I know you were doing your best. I know you wanted this to work out. You weren't being irresponsible. This was just bad luck, shit timing, whatever.
Mhm.
Oh, parenting. It's the worst.
Never boring.
Definitely never boring. So we just had Thanksgiving. Yes.
Mhm.
And did you happen to watch the Cowboys game?
You know what? I did not get a chance to watch that.
So it's really the halftime show that I'm
Mhm.
interested in. Dolly Parton. I mean, I think I mentioned her already.
Oh, that's right. Yes, she's supposed to do the halftime show then.
Did the halftime show dressed as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, Dallas Cowgirl.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, like short shorts, like tank, like not even tank top, like total belly showing, definitely. And she's what, like 77 or something. I want to know, like, what are your thoughts on that? An elderly, in quotations, elderly woman in the Dallas Cowgirls cheerleading outfit. How do you feel? Is that appropriate?
I think it depends on the person
Yeah.
and the reason why I say that, um, I've seen some women, I kid you not, that are almost 80 years old
Mhm.
that you'd have to do a double take because they're like, oh my God, they do not look anywhere near their age.
Mhm.
Just like I've seen some women, maybe around 50 or 60 or whatever, and they look like they're 80 years old.
Right. Right.
And I've seen both ends of the spectrum. I think, if a person feels comfortable and it's done with class, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? As long as it's not raunchy, and what I
Sure.
mean by that is, it's so short that you see kind of like the butt cheeks and maybe a few hairs.
Ew, gross. But
that,
yeah,
that that may be a little over the top.
a little too much, but that's too much for anybody, regardless of the age. No, and that's honestly, that's my thought too. Like, as far as it doesn't matter, I don't think the age of the person that's wearing it. I mean, it's definitely the attitude that you're wearing it with. Like, no one wants to see you walking around self-conscious. So, like, if you do not feel good wearing short shorts, like, just don't do it. Like, you being uncomfortable makes other people uncomfortable.
Mhm.
But like, um, also just like as far as an event goes and time of year, like if someone were to like come into church like that, I'd be like, maybe you shouldn't
Hey,
regardless
that
of age.
yeah, that would be a whole different situation.
Maybe you shouldn't. Or even like in the winter walking into the gas station, I'd be like, why are you wearing that? But again, like, I mean, regardless of age, like especially if you're, an entertainer,
Yeah.
I think it was totally the appropriate arena to be wearing that.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, just I think the whole situation was appropriate, and she like rocked it so well. And there was one I noticed though, she did wear, and I mean, I do think it's probably because of her age, and I was like, oh, that's a smart move. So when she didn't have like bare legs, like she had like a tan bodysuit on
Oh,
underneath it, or
okay.
like a sheer bodysuit, and it had like rhinestone or like
Okay.
glitter all over it. So it was one of those things that I was like, okay, you're not just like going out there being all wrinkly. Like you're taking into consideration all of the aesthetics, which again, she didn't have to. Like she could have still rocked it out anyway, but like I think there was still she was attempting to have like a level of class to it
Hmm.
that I mean I appreciate, as far as a fan goes. I'm like, okay, you censored yourself a little bit. You knew what you could get away with. I think is
Yeah.
what it is. You knew what you could get away with.
Well, there's other entertainers that really push an envelope. If you think about Lizzo, Lizzo will come out in a two-piece bathing suit, and it's like, here I am, take it or leave it. I
Yes.
respect that. I
Yep.
really respect that, and she rocks it. You
Well,
know?
and that's again, that's the thing. It's like if she's comfortable wearing it, I'm comfortable watching anybody wear it. It's only that if you come out and you're like scared, I'd be like, why'd you put that on? No, no one wants to watch you being self conscious. If you come out here, go crazy, start dancing, like yes, like do that. But yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, be comfortable in your choice, even if you think that it's gonna make other people uncomfortable. Like, do you, regardless.
Oh yeah, and Dolly Parton. If you watched her over the years, she's such a classy person that even with putting on, a cheerleading suit, I wouldn't expect anything but class from her because that's the way she is.
Absolutely. And like and she's funny. I mean, interviews where she's got personality. Like she's not just this tart that can sing. I mean,
Hmm.
she's a very generous woman. She's just got I mean, just such a way about her that she's got a self-deprecating kind of sense of humor, but
Hmm.
that's also very charming. She's just, oh, I love her. I love her to pieces so much.
I have to
So
see if I can
I'm
find
glad
that.
you agreed with me that it was fine because we might have to fight
I'm
if
gonna
you
have to,
would.
I'm gonna have to look back and find that. Sounds like that was a pretty good show.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was definitely a good show, but I just remember looking at her and I was like, obviously, you can't expect anything else from Dolly. Of course, she's wearing that, but also I was like, I wonder what the trolls are going to come through the comments and say. There's always one.
Yeah, but to me, it's real easy to hide behind a keyboard.
Oh yeah,
If you want to impress me, say it to my face.
absolutely. And then again, I'm going to ask you, what did you say to me? And you're
Mhm.
going to have to say it again. Like, not very many people have been brave enough to say it again.
No, no. Keyboard cowards. That's what I call
Keyboard, that's it. That is it.
them. Hey, what do you think about TikTok challenges? There's this new challenge out where I guess you put a cup on someone's head, and the other person has a belt, and they swing it real fast to knock the cup off your head. I could see how that's like kind of stupid personally, but teach his own. It's almost similar to you remember the crate challenge where people were stacking up the crates and they were
Yes. Great.
walking
Yeah.
down the crate. And I remember one challenge where there was an actual police officer who walked up and fell down. She
I
was in
remember that.
full. I'm sitting there like, whoa, that could have went so bad.
It could have been so bad. Um, I mean, there were some though, and I don't remember if this was a TikTok challenge or not. I mean, for the most part, I think as long as they're not dangerous, who cares? But
Yeah.
most of them are like, that looks really uncomfortable, or that looks dangerous, or that, like
Hmm.
that. Do you remember ages ago there was like the cinnamon challenge?
Oh yeah.
where you eat like a spoonful of cinnamon and everybody just ends up like inhaling it and like asphyxiating on cinnamon. But there was one, and I don't know if it was a TikTok challenge, but I've seen several videos of it, and oh my gosh, it made me laugh so much. It's where you have a ceiling fan and you tie a water bottle to one of the blades,
Mm-hmm.
and you blindfold yourself and you turn it on and you record and you just record it and you record people. Oh, it's so funny.
Comes up with this stuff.
I don't know, but it's so funny just watching people try to duck it and like the same person keeps getting hit in the head trying to get the rhythm. And as soon as they duck and go up, it hits them in the head again. Oh, it's so funny. So stuff like that. I mean, I do enjoy it as long as it's not like dangerous. Once it's dangerous, I just think it's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do people just sit in the rooms like, let me think, what could I create today?
I know. I mean, I think that it's just it's got to be children coming up with these things, or I don't even know. My daughter was just telling me about different shows that she was watching. Well, first, my nephews got on the TV and like we saw their YouTube search, and there's a thing called Skibbity Toilet. I just looked up a screenshot from it. It is horrifying. Like it's not gross. It's just a weird cartoon with like heads on toilets. It's weird. It's just so weird.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my daughter was just telling me about just another weird show. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, it just sounds like everybody's like the one weird show, like we used to have back ages ago. There's a show called Robot Chicken. I don't know if you remember
Yep.
this.
Oh, yeah.
And like Robot Chicken was that one like weird off the wall, but like there wasn't several shows like it. And that's just what all these things remind me of are like some crazy, like someone gave a skit from Robot Chicken a whole season. And that's where you get Skibbity Toilet. And that's where, so I don't know. I just think the weirdest stuff ends up becoming relevant.
Well, and don't forget, Robot Chicken came on late too for a reason.
Right. It was definitely for adults. Oh man, it was funny. It was funny. It was good. It was
Yeah, some of the stuff was like, wow.
well, right. And I mean, there were even times that I would like think of weird things and I'd be like, that would be a good Robot Chicken episode.
Oh yes, definitely.
So I heard, I didn't hear, I read that, and this was actually like last week that I read this, so I was gonna bring it up. Paris Hilton's media company. So she's obviously famous, has money.
Mm-hmm.
Her media company stopped doing business or placing their ads on the social network formerly known as Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And along with IBM, also, big companies stopped advertising on Twitter X. And they have, because of concerns about anti-Semitism. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that is like a good move for them to do that?
I definitely understand why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, you don't want to indirectly offend your customer base. Right. And it seems like when it was taken over by Musk, there's a lot of things that they're doing now that wouldn't be tolerated prior to him purchasing the company. I mean, blatant stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, one thing about companies is if they think you're going to mess with that bottom line, they'll drop you like a hot potato. It wouldn't think twice.
And I mean, and I definitely get that. Like, I love that they really have no loyalty because it's very black and white. Hey, I love you as a person, but you're going to lose me money. Sorry, I got to go.
Yep.
You know, like it's not personal, it's business. I mean, that's it. It's just interesting that they had to weigh those options as far as like their target market goes. Like are they getting their advertisements out to their target market still by not advertising on Twitter? Or have they just decided like only this type of person would be saying these types of things. So therefore, you don't need to see my ad. You're not our type of customer. Do you think it goes that deep?
I
Or
think it could be because the interesting thing is about the companies that you just mentioned. They put an ad anywhere, people know who they are instantly.
yeah,
So for me, I think that um, X, formerly known as Twitter, they need them more than the companies need X.
you're
To me,
right. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's like it's just a brand recognition thing after a certain point that it's like any of those people who were on Twitter who never saw an IBM ad, they go into a Staples, they're going to see anything that's IBM brand and recognize it regardless. So yeah, I would agree with that. That it's like you're not worth giving my money to. You're sort of what is the word? You're just sort of catering to, the shitty people. I'll put it that way. So yeah, we just don't need to deal with you. I mean, I get it. But I was surprised because I really never identified with Paris Hilton ever in my life. There has been nothing about her and I that have ever overlapped as far as looks or interest or financial situation. Nothing about us has ever been aligned. So I just thought it was really interesting that there was a line in the sand that I was like, oh, okay, and maybe it wasn't her decision, maybe it was their,
mm-hmm.
diversity, department or whatever. But I mean, still, like she's head of the company, she honored it. So that's probably one of the most respectable things that I know, at least about her.
Well, I think that the thing is as you become a bigger, more established company over the years, people know who you are. You can take a stand. In other words, if there's something you strongly believe in, you can do something about it.
Yeah.
And it's not going to affect your bottom line. In fact, it may even help your bottom line because they're looking at you as, okay, you're thinking about more than the bottom line.
Yeah.
Which in most cases is not true, but at least they portray that.
At least they're acting like it. Yeah. It's like how everybody is, um, pro pride during June. And then the rainbow flags get rolled up once July 1st rolls around. So yeah. But either way, that I thought it was for sure commendable. And
Yes.
I like to see that, honestly.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the holiday season.
Yeah.
What do you think is bad holiday etiquette when you're going over someone's house?
Bad in what was the last?
Holiday etiquette.
Just in general.
I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to someone's house, obviously if there's food, you want to take some food home.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may feel a certain kind of way when I say this, but you probably shouldn't be packing your to-go plate before everyone eats.
Fact. Absolutely not. Bad etiquette. Bad etiquette. I would say another one, especially because Christmas is coming up. It's just, I mean, I know you can't control little kids. And so, I mean, and when they do it, it's kind of like, oh, crap. But you can understand it when you give them a gift and they're like, oh, I wanted the blue one, or they open like a card and they're like, what, no money?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Shit. Yeah. So, but again, with them being kids, usually their parents are around to say, Matthew, say thank you, but it's when like adults do it that it's like just so cringy that you give somebody like, I don't know, a really nice set of bed sheets for Christmas. And they're, I don't know why you spent all this money on these. I have some from Walmart that feel just the exact same way. And I probably spent $30 less. And you're like, well, you're welcome. How about that? You're friggin' welcome. So the kids I can definitely forgive. It's the adults that are just like, why did I even bother? Why did I even bother?
A simple thank you would have been just fine.
It would have been just fine. Honestly, even if you would have been like, I just don't really like this color. Do you have the gift receipt? I'd like, yes, I do. Sure, I understand. And then even if they return, like, that's fine. Like, that's why you have gift receipts. Not everything you choose is for everybody. But like, there's just a way of doing that,
And depending on what the gift is, most gifts you can take it home and oops, lose it too,
yeah, regift it.
You
Absolutely.
know, nobody would know. So
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other bad etiquette that I've seen. I mean, definitely overstaying your welcome, but I feel like that
yeah.
kind of goes without saying. Like that's anytime you stay at someone's house, you should never make yourself like too at home. That's like, I need an extra blanket. Can I take the one off your bed? Maybe don't do that.
Mhm.
Um, any sort of insult the cooking. Um, I don't know. Do you have any others that you can think of?
I would say probably a couple of things would be is, you know, control your bad kids.
Oh yeah, it's
You
all about
know,
mm,
it's not cute when you invite someone over your house and their kid comes in and they're kind of damaging your house because they're found out the chair because they're climbing in the chairs. They want to jump on the furniture. You know, things that you won't even let your own kids do, let alone a stranger.
and like again, like I am that person that is like I will snap at your kid, especially in my house. Like, and if you get mad at me, like you can go. Like that's just, and like I try not to ever be disrespected pretty much by anybody,
Yeah.
let alone a freaking kid. And it's like, yeah, if you don't understand that that's disrespectful, that's fine. Let me tell you that it's disrespectful and you shouldn't do it.
Well, but it makes it 10 times worse when the parent is standing right next to you and we're both watching this and you don't say nothing. So I say something and then, oh, no, no, he didn't do that. And I'm like, okay, we both watched him sit here.
Literally just saw it.
you know, that kind of creates some issues like, okay, why'd you bring your bad kids if you're not going to control
Why'd you bring your bad kid? Yeah. Or I mean, even kind of on to piggyback on that, any sort of in-law things, I just feel like if you have nothing to say about any in-law, just don't.
them? Yeah. Yeah.
Daughter-in-law, father-in-law, don't say it. Don't say it. No one's gonna appreciate it. I mean, even if you think everybody sees it, because that's the thing. I've definitely had family who thought that I like agreed with, like, thought the behavior was super obvious and was like, "Oh, and you see blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And they were like, "Didn't you see blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "I didn't notice that about them," And then they're trying to start gossip, and I was like, "I missed that. I didn't think they were being rude," And it was just they were trying to start some shit because they were in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anything you have to say about in-laws better be super sweet because it's already people are already kind of expecting you to talk shit. So you might have to be extra nice about things.
That is true. That is
Mm-hmm.
true. One thing about the holidays and family is the one time of the year my favorite holiday by far is Christmas. I
Oh yeah.
love Christmas. I mean, if my wife would let me do it, I could keep my Christmas tree up year round. But she won't let me do that.
Well, you know what? That was actually one of my questions to you, one of my topics.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know about your Christmas time frames.
Okay.
Like, when is it appropriate to put up your tree? When's too early? Like, when do you start listening to holiday music? How long should you keep your lights up for? Like, in your your appropriateness sort of gauge, where are those limits?
Oh no, I think for Christmas music, I can listen to Christmas music year round just because I love Christmas.
God,
Even though everybody
you're like,
around me may talk crazy.
I'm gonna do it.
As far as too early for the Christmas tree, I think the perfect time is either right before or right after Thanksgiving.
I would agree with that. Hmm.
Um, I think you can keep the Christmas tree up. Probably going into spring. Someone, my family just doesn't agree with me on that.
I mean, right? And what about Christmas lights? Like your outdoor Christmas light?
Yeah, you probably want to take those down around. I mean, again, if I had my way, I would keep them up all year. But yeah, about February, I think the neighbors have had enough, so you need to take them
I know.
down.
When it's so hard, like living in Illinois and Michigan, because it's like,
Yes.
yes, neighbors, I would love to take my lights down. I know it's March, but we've had 4 feet of snow for the last 3 weeks. Like, I'm not getting out there and doing that. So I always feel like the springtime, I always feel like the biggest redneck because my lights are still up into late March. And it's not because I'm lazy, it's because it's so freaking cold out. Or like, I don't trust myself getting on like the icy roof to take them down.
I mean, my goal really is to try and take them down at the end of January, right at February. But
Yeah.
if it's very cold, if it's very snowy, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna unplug them,
Yeah. Unplug
and I'll
them.
I'll get back to it, maybe in a few weeks.
Do what you can. Yeah. Cause I mean, sometimes I'll have like, lawn ornaments of some kind out that like, okay, these are low hanging fruit. I can, take the artificial reindeer back inside. But yeah, it's just I'm not gonna go climb the tree to like unwrap the lights
Yeah,
even if it's March. It's sub-zero temperatures. I'm not going out there like that. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
yeah. Last year I had my tree up kind of a long time, and
Yeah.
my wife was like, you need to get that tree down, Lawrence. That tree's been up too. And I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, I'll get it down. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I really didn't have a motivation to take it down, but I love Christmas.
Yeah.
But then we had some friends come over, and my wife's friends growing up and stuff. Do you know they took my tree down? I come upstairs because I was in the basement. I come upstairs. I'm like, it's a bitch. I see my tree laid out on the floor. Like, wow, really?
Wow, I feel offended. You know what though? I did something similar to that, and I was actually just about it. It was a couple years ago that my friend, they had just kind of moved recently into their house, and the way they had their furniture, I was like, this could be so much better. Let's rearrange your furniture. And like I was that person that was like, let's rearrange that. And like her husband comes home and he liked it, but he was like what the hell happened? Well, Hurricane Kristen came through and decided that the couch needs to be by the window. Right. I mean, some things, sometimes you need to give your friends a guiding hand when it
Did they
comes.
like it at least?
Oh yeah, no, yes, for sure. Like she was like, I can't believe I didn't think of it. So yes, but it was the initial like, let's rearrange your furniture. That she was like, really? F off. What do you mean? And I was like, no, just trust me. Let's rearrange your furniture. And then she was like, oh my God, yeah, that makes so much more sense. But, no one wants to ever say that to somebody.
Hey, it worked out, right?
It worked out. I mean, I was bold of me, but I've been friends with her for years and years. So it was one of those people I could say that to because if she really didn't want to, she'd be like, go to hell, Kristen. We're not doing anything. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. It's fine. We're not doing anything.
Well, we got time for one more
Have
conversation.
any more topics? Because I always got more Christmas stuff to talk about.
You know what? Let's go with you. What do you have?
Yeah. All right. So I want to talk about gifts, especially with like, Black Friday being done. Now Cyber Monday's over.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to spending on how much you spend on gifts, like how do you gauge that? Like, because there's several different ways to think about it. Like, I normally would spend $50 a person, but I got a promotion last year and I have more money now to spend. So, should I increase my gift giving budget? Or I got this thing and it's usually $80, but I got it on Black Friday and it's $20. Should I get them something else to maybe add to it? Like, what is your gift giving etiquette?
I mean, obviously, there isn't really a budget for my wife, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, for Kenny, I try and get him something that I feel special about.
Yeah.
Um, but outside of the immediate family,
Hmm.
my gift giving shrinks dramatically for a number of reasons. One, I have a lot of nieces and nephews,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and the thing is that if you open that door of buying one niece or nephew something,
To get it for every one of them. Yeah.
you know, either A, you should buy everyone one, or two, if your other nieces and nephews find out, you kind of like the asshole uncle at that point,
100%. Except to that one that you gave the gift to.
Right.
Then you're the
So
favorite.
so it's like, okay, we'll make it. We're just gonna make this easy then, because
Yeah.
it can get very expensive. It really can.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I have, gosh, how many nephews? I have like five nephews total. Like I am surrounded by nephews. I have no nieces. Um, and that's expensive. Still trying to do like Christmas and birthdays. And I was like, but again, like, there's just so few of us as far as like that's it. That's it. I don't have like cousins with kids or anything. Like it's just those five. So I do
Oh,
it.
I can never do cousins. Literally on my mother's side of the family, and this is no exaggeration, I have over 30 first cousins on my mom's side of the family. So there's no way I could possibly. I would be broke.
Yeah, you would go broke. You would absolutely go broke. And I mean, we definitely have certain things with certain members of the family, like, my sister-in-law. Some years we've been like, we do not need anything. Like, why don't you just get stuff for the kids? And then they're like, yes, we do not need anything either. I don't need a tchotchke. I don't need like,
Now, see, I agree with that because if I buy something for the kids, no, I'm not buying something for your parents.
oh,
I agree
really?
with that. I agree with that.
I mean, I think also, again, I'm from a pretty small family. Like I am the only sibling with any biological kids. My brother has a stepson and my sister has a stepson. And so it's just like that's that's very few kids in my immediate family right there. So I mean, and again, I don't really have cousins with kids or anything. So it's like, I'm gonna probably also buy a present for my brother.
Oh, sure,
You
sure.
know, and so it's not like, but if it was a cousin, if I had a cousin with a kid, yeah, they're not getting shit. Mm-mm. Just the kid is.
Yeah, and you also have to think about it too. Is my thing is if you buy me a gift, think about me as a person.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is if you were to get me, let's say, a $10 gift card at Dunkin' Donuts, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or let's say a $5 gift card or whatever. To me, it's never ever been about how big it is or how much it costs. Is are you buying this from your heart thinking about me?
Does it make sense for me?
Right.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
for example, if you buy me a $5 gift card to, let's say, um, a perfume shop, okay, probably not a good gift for me because I don't buy a whole lot of cologne. My cologne lasts a long time.
Right. And as it does. Yes, for sure.
So
So
it's how much thought have you put into it? That's really what it.
and I think that's a huge part of it. And because sometimes, like I was Black Friday shopping online, and I was saying to my husband, I had him look at something. I was like, this is so on sale. Who do we know that would like this? And he's like, I have no idea. I was like, oh my God, this is just such a good deal. I wish we knew who would want this. But like we couldn't think of any, but so I didn't buy it. But it was, yeah, it was one of those things that's like, yes, I could have bought it. I could have gifted it to, a brother-in-law. I could have I
Oh,
could have made it work. But I just couldn't think of anybody that like it made sense for. So
mhm.
I lost my bargain.
That's okay. There'll be more bargains coming.
More bargains. It's not Christmas yet, dang it.
That is true. I'm
Mhm.
trying to see how long I keep my Christmas tree up before they take it down for me.
Oh yeah, don't let Tracy invite any friends over. It sounds like that is the kiss of death for you. That's what does it.
Yeah, I wanted to cry when I saw my tree on the floor, but that's okay.
Heartbreaking.
Oh my God! You know what? Real quick, I saw today. Do you use a real tree or artificial tree?
Oh, not a real tree. No, no, no. I do not have that energy. It is fake. Fake, fake, fake.
Yeah, mine is fake too, just because I don't want to accidentally burn down my house.
Burn down the house, get the pine needles everywhere. Got to remember to water it. The dog's eating sticks off of it. Mm-mm.
There's another thing that people have to watch out for, and it makes sense. When you buy a live tree, you need to make sure there's no insects and stuff in that tree.
Oh yeah, gross.
I saw a story today, and they were showing how people had got fresh cut trees. They bring them home, and like one person had like life jacket hornets in the tree. Another
That
person had all kinds of little flying insects and stuff. Because if you think about it, it's coming from outside.
yeah, of course. Like it totally makes sense. Something could be living in it. Absolutely.
And they're like, when you buy the tree, just make sure you shake it real good. And see, first I got to worry about not burning down my house. That's first thing. Make sure you water it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to worry that I'm not bringing any extra friends into my house. No, that's just too much work.
You know what? And you also got to worry about your dog drinking the tree water and choking down the pine needles. Like there's a lot. No friggin' thank you. Give me my little 3-piecer in a box.
There you go.
Pre-lit. Call it a day.
Yeah. I was looking at like, that's a hell of a lot of work for a tree though.
No, thank you for that fresh pine smell. I will get some pine air freshener. Agreed.
There you go.
All right, Lawrence, it is 8:03. Well, 8:03 my time, 7:03 your time.
Well, so, I enjoyed this conversation as always.
Always, yes. And so I will see you next week then.
Yes, you will. You enjoy your weekend.
You too. Have a happy Wednesday night, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, ElrodTVNetwork.com. Watch our main show, Thirsty Conversations.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.